Welcome to the Life Work podcast from Williams Baptist University. In today's episode, Dr. Stan Norman sits down with Professor Heather Parson, Assistant Professor of Business and Chair of the Department of Business here at WBU. In this first part of their conversation, Heather shares growing up in a small ag community, walking through her father's tragic accident, and seeing God provide in the middle of real hardship. You'll hear how these early experiences shaped her faith, her view of money, and eventually her sense of calling. Let's listen in as Dr. Norman and Professor Parson talk about how God was at work long before she ever imagined teaching at Williams.
Today is a day I've been looking forward to for a long time. I've been working hard to get our next guest on the docket, and here she is. Welcome, Heather Parson, to the Life Work podcast.
It's good to be here. Thank you for asking me to participate.
Well, thank you for finally working your calendar and agreeing to accept my invitation to be a part of what we're doing here. You ready to talk about
I'm ready.
all things Heather?
Yes.
Okay. So for our listeners, Professor Heather Parson is one of our business professors here, or one of our largest, if not our largest major on campus, depending upon the year. A lot of it having to do with the great faculty we have in that department, and you are the department chair leading that great faculty, aren't you? I'm
very blessed to get to work with some wonderful women that come alongside me, and we have a really good thing going right now. We're very thankful. Very thankful. You do.
And on top of that, you are an alum.
I am.
So you were here when Dr. Williams was president, is that right?
Not quite.
Wow, okay. Well, you were here with a great group. I'm getting to know our alumni base more and more, and that generation of Williams students, alums, pretty impressive group.
Yes, it was a really special time. I think it was a special time in our country, things that were going on culturally, and this campus really facilitated a lot of tight-knit relationships that have continued for 25 plus years.
That's what it's all about.
It is.
That's what we want to hear.
That's what makes Williams special.
Yes, it is.
It is.
And you're a part of that specialness of Williams.
That's really a privilege. It's really a privilege.
So are you from this part of the world?
I am.
Where did you grow up?
Well, in my toddler years, my parents lived in Middle Tennessee, south of Nashville. My dad ran a ranch, and I was heavily involved in the cattle. I mean, even as a toddler in diapers, I was showing cattle. And then,
are there pictures of this?
I'm sure there are somewhere in a photo album.
I want to see you at the county fair in a diaper showing a bull.
Well, there's definitely pictures of me in a rabbit cage at the county fair from what I hear.
Okay.
So, yes, with a rabbit. So then kind of preschool years, we moved to southeast Missouri. My grandfather was a large-scale row crop farmer.
Okay.
And my dad went to work at the family farm for a few years. And then we moved across the river to Rector, Arkansas.
Okay.
To help a great aunt that had lost her husband and was running a cattle operation. And so from early elementary through high school, Rector was home base.
So you're the Rector Flash, huh?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And you grew up in an ag home.
I did, very much so. Very much an ag community. Agra has always been ingrained into our lifestyle, for better or for worse.
So I'm going to come back to ask where things are in that regard today. But you're growing up in an agri community.
Yes. Small town USA.
Love it. Love it. Tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey.
Well, it's probably one that's incredibly unique.
Okay.
Dad always worked with cattle, ag, and for a short period of time, when I was about in the first grade, my grandfather was a construction superintendent, and Dad went to work to make ends meet doing some construction, and he had a tragic accident and was electrocuted in Jonesboro in 1989.
Your dad or your grandfather?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yes.
Wow.
And he has a life after life testimony.
Okay.
And so, I mean, here I am, 7 years old, and, Dad just encountered this incredible experience. And so, spiritually, I never remember not being involved in church. I never remember not having family full of faith. My Dad's side of the family had lots of giants in the faith. One even was a professor at Ouachita and at Southwest Baptist Theological
Okay.
Seminary. And
Who was that?
Bud Frey.
I know that name.
That's my uncle.
See, I'm a 2-time alum from Southwestern.
Okay,
yeah.
So Uncle Bud.
Uncle Bud.
Uncle Bud, yep. That's my uncle. He recently passed just last week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So back to my spiritual journey, I was never not a spiritual aspect of my life.
Okay.
And then, Dad, comes back from the hospital, and there is a place you go to when you die, and heaven is real. And so I've just always grown up, with a really strong faith background. And so,
How did that event shape your family life?
oh, well, that's a loaded question. I would say that life as a child was more about survival rather than thriving. Because of the tragedy, life was always just getting by. Dad was left with some physical limitations and some disability, and I'm a welfare kid for a period of time. We had to be on government housing and food stamps, SNAP benefits now, and we just really struggled. If it wasn't for the benevolence of others, church people, family, friends, that's how we got by as a kid.
Wow.
And so I think that's really what shaped me into who I am today. Casting Crowns has a song, life song, let my life song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of definitely rings true with me, because every aspect of my life has led me to where I am now. And so I can identify with people that are in hardships and in struggles, because I remember knowing what that was like. So much so that what we had for dinner was either what someone from the church brought us out of the food pantry, or what my dad or my uncles were able to go, harvest themselves, either through fishing or through hunting, and that was our meal. And life was really hard, really hard.
Wow.
And
I don't think I knew this about you. I think I knew about the dad's accident. I didn't know about the aftermath.
yes, it was definitely shaped. And so that's what kind of led us even more so to participate in the farm that my aunt had. And she definitely helped shape us and fill in those gaps and helped raise me. I mean, that her farm was my other home as a child and as a teenager.
So where in this did you come to personally know the Lord?
It was about that early preteen age, probably 7, 8, to where I made my faith public at church and was baptized. And but it was definitely shortly after Dad's accident.
Yeah.
And so.
Wow. So in the midst of all this, what are some things that you most remember about God working in young Heather's life?
We would have a family prayer. Oh, God, help us today. And someone would show up. So much so that even at church, there would be people that would just shake hands with my mom or my dad, and there would be a $100 bill. And that would be what would pay the light bill that was going to be shut off the next day. Or it was literally a hands-to-mouth situation, to where I learned through watching my family struggle that God just provided. He was never early,
Right.
but he was always on time. And, there would be no food in the pantry, and there would be someone that would pull up, and there would be a truckload of cases of canned goods to fill the pantry to, last us for the month. Or it was just life. It was literally a daily dependence on the Lord to provide for our needs.
How cognizant were you as a child of the gravity and the weight of this reality that was on your family?
Well, I'm the oldest child. I have a younger sister, so it was just the two of us. And my family really didn't hide the struggles. It was very well known, the things that we were struggling with. And so I knew. I mean, I'm sure there were things that my mom and dad hid from me just to protect us. But, I mean, I was very aware of the financial strain and the struggles of my family.
How long was this season in your family? Was it like 5 years,
No,
10? Is it ongoing?
Probably the most. Yes, it was ongoing. Probably the lowest of lows was directly after Dad's accident, for probably 3 to 4 years. And then there were moments, like in my family, there were moments of either feast or famine. And so there were moments of outpourings of blessings. And I think that's also what led me to this path that I'm on, or where I'm at today, is because I saw how just mismanagement, or maybe some not handling things the way that probably they should have been handled, those blessings that led to more years of impoverishment. And so it was just a roller coaster. My life is definitely full of ups and downs and twists and turns and pivots, and it wasn't a straight path at all.
I don't know anybody that has had a straight path.
Well,
so
I don't know. Sometimes
welcome to the rest of us.
Yeah.
So where in all of this did you begin to sense God orchestrating your life in a certain calling or certain direction? This is the Life Work Podcast, and we
Yes.
do explore that.
Yes.
So where in all of this did you begin to sense a direction for working life?
Well, I feel like during my youth group years, we actually had switched churches during that time. And so I feel like through some of the mentoring, and we'll come back to that particular church later, but through some mentoring and some people that got involved with our family and life during that time, I was really able to grow spiritually, just on a personal level, and really grow my relationship with the Lord. And I think it was during those years where I wanted to start helping the family out and providing for myself. I mean, I was a teenage girl, and so, I went to work when I was 14. As soon as I could drive and get a hardship license, I did, and I got a job after school. And the summer,
where was the first job?
The first job was a waitress at a local restaurant.
Okay.
And
in Rector?
In Rector, yes.
Okay, is the restaurant still there?
It is not.
Okay.
It's very sad. It's actually no longer standing. The building's not even there. So yeah, I learned early to kind of take matters in my own hands and provide for myself and help the family out when needed. And so that continued on even through college.
How does that play out? I have heard of, fortunately, I was never in that role as a young kid, teenager, working to contribute to the family budget. So how does that play out? Do your parents come and say, Heather, I know you're working, I know you're making this amount, do you think you can help? Or do you just step up and say, I had a good week of tips, let me contribute to the family this week?
Well, I think it started, I wanted to be active. And my family, my mom particularly, always kept me and my sister very involved in the local community. We played sports, and I was involved in every club and activity, and, Girl Scouts, and everything. And I think it got to the point to where those activities got expensive, and I just wanted to provide for myself. I wanted to pay for my own way, so to speak. But there were times to where I would need to, loan mom and dad money. I would try to charge them interest and be a bank. That didn't always work out in my favor.
How does that play out?
Yeah, it didn't really. But anyways, it's fun to put it down on paper.
I bet.
And so, but there were other times that I just, took care of things, or, by taking care of myself, I was helping the family out and alleviating that financial burden. And so that just continued all the way through college. And
so your first job was as a waitress. Oh, what was the second job, and when did you get it?
Well, I tell the students all the time that before I came to Williams, I had 23 different jobs, and I came to Williams in my late 20s. So the Lord just really let me experience lots of different things. I would have to really think back chronologically what was the next job.
Okay, what was the next one that was memorable?
Well, okay, so back to this whole money thing, because, I am a finance professor.
Yes, you are.
And there's a story to that, too. But I think because of that, seeing the mismanagement of funds and the Lord's blessings and provisions as a child, that I never wanted that for myself. And that has definitely driven me into this path that I'm on, definitely driven me. And so when I was in the 8th grade, this is kind of definitely a pivotal point. When I was in the 8th grade and getting ready to go to school to get my schedule for that year, I went and got my schedule, and I was in an entrepreneurship class. And I remember being very angry with my principal at the time, who I was also close to. It's a small town. Everybody knows everyone. And I went to him, and I'm like, why did you put me in this entrepreneurship class? None of my friends are in this class. And I remember him saying, this is the class that you're going to take. You need to, like, we're not talking about this. This is the class you're in. Go to class. And I was the only 8th grader in that class. It was a class of mostly juniors and seniors, upperclassmen, that, I knew, small town. So I knew everyone in the class, but I wasn't happy that I was in there. Now, I did learn how to spell the word entrepreneur that year, but that set me up for future business classes in my high school years. And I remember just the relationship that I was able to build with my business teacher. And the Lord always had, different people in my life and planting seeds, and some of them were teachers, but this particular business teacher was definitely influential.
So why do you think your principal put you in that class?
I don't know. I really don't know. Later, when I was one of his student workers, he just said that he thought that I had the knack for business and it was a good fit. But none of my friends took those business classes in high school. And, but that, it just put me on, during that time, there was some pathways, ag, and I did ag in that 8th grade year as well, and FFA and those types of, classes and clubs. But I was also the one that was kind of both. I was both business and FBLA, and then I was FFA too, and then I eventually gave up the FFA thing and just dove all in. And so my senior year, I was taking an accounting class and fell in love with the field of accounting. And my another business teacher actually had received a phone call from a local certified public accountant that was looking for some part-time help and recommended me for the job. And so after school, I was working for the CPA. He also was a tax attorney. And I thought, okay, this is, a good, my mother worked somewhat as a bookkeeper, off and on throughout my junior high years and high school years at some local businesses. And so it just kind of fit, had maybe that knack. And so I knew that I was wanting to go to school for accounting.
So as you're talking, I am just seeing pivotal moments in your life. Your dad's accident, the struggles of family, your
and
first
money.
job.
Struggles of family and money.
Well,
yes.
I didn't want to say
but
that.
That's what it was.
Okay.
That's what it was.
You said it.
Yes.
And then the principal making what seems to have been
a wrong decision.
A random decision that, looking back now, you have to wonder, did he see what was going on, saw a need, saw potential, and intervened as a good educator often is wont to do? And then the tax attorney position, part-time work.
Yes. My life is full of pivots like that.
Well, most are, and yours are just so profoundly and wonderfully obvious now. You probably had no clue at that time. So let me ask the question I've asked a few of our guests. So Professor Heather Parson sitting here in the podcast studio, from where you are now, knowing what you know, what would you tell 14-year-old Heather about God's working in her life?
Yeah. Well, it's taken a long time for me to come around to that. I'm going to say middle age definitely has helped experience. I spend a lot of time in my spiritual journey while I was a believer and I felt like I had a solid relationship with the Lord. I also had some trust issues with God. Because my family, we were believers, but there were always these hard things that were happening. And, why were we not blessed like, the next door neighbor? Or, like, okay, God, if we're your children, why are you not working? Why are you not, And so I always had this tendency to want to take matters in my own hands and be in control. And it wasn't until after graduate school in one of my previous careers before education that I really came to grips with a trust issue that I had with the Lord and how it was impacting me and hindering me, actually, in walking out my calling. And so, you hear a lot of people ask you, what's your life verse? And my life verse has changed, as many do, but I think now in this period of my life verse right now is Romans 8:28. That all things work together for the good, for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And it took me a while to come to grips with the Lord and his calling and his purpose for my life, because what I wanted was quite different from what the Lord had for me.
So what would you tell little Heather now?
To trust the Lord, to just trust the Lord, and that it's all going to work out and it's all going to be okay, and that his plans are so much better than what our plans are. And I'm living that today.
That would be hard for her to hear, wouldn't it?
It would be very hard for her to hear.
Yeah.
Because 14-year-old Heather was very angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. But God's good.
He is.
He's really good.
Yes,
and
is.
he's gracious.
Yeah. Well, you are the woman you are today through the experiences walking through that.
Yes.
So,
And I'm also a testament that the Lord has a sense of humor.
well, how so? Okay, well, we're going to end on this one.
Okay. Because the way the Lord has directed my path is somewhat comical. And
How so?
well, just, I'm an educator today.
Yeah.
And all of my mom and my dad's families were educators. And that was definitely not what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I was going to make money and be rich. And
How did that work out?
yeah, well, here I am.
Here you are, Williams Baptist University.
So I'm saying the Lord has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, I'm glad you're here.
me too. The Lord's good. The Lord's good.
Well, we'll put a pin on that one, and we'll pick up this conversation in our next episode.